Remember the times I'm feeling like Michael. We taking a stand, creating a plan, and beating the cycle. We got a whole lot of work we gotta do. Give me the raw, give me the real, just give me the truth. We start a conversation, then let the world debate it. Breath of fresh air coming through just like ventilation. And no boy, let me tell you about the squad. A dream team, so you know they coming hard. Now first up, let me tell you about Jay. You know he wise, man, that boy got knowledge for days. Check out his mind. Then we got Sean coming through like Thanos, keep him in line. He's a quiet storm, but don't get it twisted, you see the grind. And next up, we gotta talk about Nate. You know she slay. She got the brains and the beauty plus strength to keep him straight. And last but not least, we got Nostradamus. He's the voice of the people, so he'll keep it poppin'. My squad gon' keep it 100, and that's all facts. They're here to spark the conversation. Now you debate that.
Welcome to another episode of Debate That, where we discuss relationships, pop culture, social issues, and much, much more. My name is Jay.
I'm Sean.
And Nae's not with us today. She out, shaking and moving. But we do have Junie Boyer here with us today. And I met Junie through another friend of mine, Cha-Cha. And when I was there, they had an interest in debate. And through that debate, I was able to get to know her better and understand that she brings a lot to the table and different perspectives, and being able to have a conversation, which we can't do, which is what this show is about. So I want to introduce Miss Junie Boyer, and let us know a little bit about yourself and the things that you have going on. I'll turn it over.
Hey everyone, what's up? I am Junie Boyer, as Jason stated, and I am the CEO and founder of For Her Perspective, which is a nonprofit organization based out of Orlando, Florida. And what we do is we mentor, we do community outreach, and we do workshops. And so our passion is for women and young girls, and we're just excited to see the growth that has taken place and what's to come. I'm also a speaker, so I love empowering women. So if you need a speaker, reach out to me. You can definitely do that on our Instagram. That is JB Forever Blessed. That's my personal Instagram. And for the nonprofit, it is the number 4 HER _ perspective PERSPECTIVE. Love to connect with you.
There it is. Power to the women. You get it, girl. All right, Nostradamus, what we got for today?
So today's episode is, we haven't had one of these in a while, but it's our What's Happening series.
Man, you got to say that with some life, bro.
What's happening?
There it is. Look at it. All right, so
It's a lot happening.
On our What's Happening series, y'all know we talk about various topics. We just give our takes on current events that's going on. So we're going to start off with one that if you listen to hip hop in the 90s, like you knew who this dude was. So y'all already know who we talking about. We talking about DMX and the situation that happened. The dog has passed away, man. What do y'all think about that? How y'all feel about that?
That hurts my heart to the core.
One of the songs that got me through with DMX was Slippin'. That was a tough song. But in that song, you can feel this man's pain. Like he was struggling his whole career. And
his whole life.
Yeah, his whole life. This goes well into our mental health episode that we had, because there was definitely some mental health issues there that he was struggling with. And even his relationship with God, it was a struggle back and forth. Like you hear it all in the songs, but in the songs you hear a lot. It was a lot going on there. It was a lot of struggle there.
The funny part is I think that was where the purity was in his relationship with God. Not trying to sound perfect, not trying to sound like he do everything right. But I think that's the one place that it didn't have a strain. You know what I mean? As far as when you hear him talk, you hear the interviews, you hear the music. The one thing that he never wavered on was that. You know what I mean? He always stayed pure. I mean, he pretty much showed us, basically how to just live your life. But at the end of the day, you always heard him, and you already know that he keeps God first, and he know where his help come from. He never shied away from it. You know what I mean? Regardless of whatever demons that he, were battling. But for me, like I said, it hurt, but also it gives a sense of peace to know that he not having to go through that struggle no more. You know what I mean? He's definitely in a better place. You know what I mean? And like I said, his walk with God for me, regardless of what you see on TV and stuff like that, but what he speaks out of his mouth, you know what I mean? When it comes down to him talking about the word of God, you can see and you know that it's pure. You know what I mean? So, hey, one love DMX.
And also, even though we don't know him personally, I mean, I can't speak for you guys. Maybe you guys might. I don't know him personally, and I don't know his family or anything. But I do want to send condolences out to his family and his loved one because I can only imagine how he touched their lives, right? Because to me, he was important in my life just from a musical aspect. Like when he came on the scene and I started listening to his music, I mean, he immediately jumped up into my top 5, greatest of all time, top 5 favorite of all time. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And the things that he's done, within the music industry, and you got to watch him and see how authentic he was. It's crazy. So, I mean, it hurt me too, man. Like just understanding this whole situation of him passing and even, people, how it was reported, how the media handled it. You know what I mean? That was painful to watch because it's a private moment. You know what I mean? And everybody was just trying to do stuff for clickbait to be the first one to report stuff. So it hurts, man.
You, Junie?
It's a lot you can say about his death, his life. One of the songs that come to play is, stop, drop, shut him down, up and up shop. That's something I grew up on. And so just to see, somebody like him no longer living, you start to think back of all the people that we've lost over the past couple of years. And it's like, man, by the time I'm in my 50s, like nobody that I grew up with listening to is going to be here, or even 40s. And so it's definitely a sad time, although we know we all have to transition at one point or another. It's life. I also think what's sad is how you transition, right? And so for me, although we don't have all the information, I mean, it's a lot of speculation right now with how he actually passed and was it a drug overdose and whatnot. At the end of the day, we all have demons, right, that we battle daily. Whether you're churched or unchurched, there's stuff that you struggle with. And so for me, if he did pass because of that, that just makes it even more sad. So definitely much respect and love go out to his family. Like Nam said, it's really horrible how the media, came out to put the information. I feel like everybody was doing it for clout, right? And not really because they respected the man. It's something I think I posted last week on my Facebook, where, you don't really realize the significance that you have, right? Until you die. I just wish that we all at that point when we transition can just come back and like watch how people are talking about us, watch how people are conveying their love for us, because maybe he really didn't realize how big of an impact, right? Because the world's going crazy right now. Everybody's, talking about him, posting him, jamming to his music, but maybe he didn't really feel that when he was alive. And so that could have been another reason that he, he's no longer here. And so it's definitely a sad occasion.
Did you know that the song that you mentioned, Rough Riders Anthem, did you know that wasn't even his favorite song that he recorded?
I don't know what his favorite song was, but that's one of the ones that I grew up like.
Right. No, I'm just late because I seen what interview what he did, and he was like he didn't really like that song because to him it was like the beat pattern was too elementary for him. He said he knew he could go in and crush it. The only reason why it got so big was because it became a banger because all the masses enjoyed it.
Right.
But he said that wasn't one of his most favorite songs.
Didn't know that, so definitely learned something new.
If you think about songs, whatever song it may be, if you get if your beat is catchy, but you have a hook that people can sing and they feel like they know the song, your 16 bars or whatever in the middle nobody cares about until you get back to that hook. But if they can sing along with the hook, they feel like they know the song, which is why certain artists' songs were just so complex, because even the hooks were complex, or there wasn't a hook. So it wasn't, people be like, oh man, that's too much. But like in those songs, whatever, like in any genre of music, hip hop, R&B, gospel, like Kirk Franklin does it well. Look at Stomp. That was easy. It even had people dancing. Like those are the songs that take off because of that. And I mean, with X, he did a good job of he was a great rapper and storyteller. Right. And so him being able to do that, and for people who really enjoy the music, man, it's sad. At the end of the day, the whole situation is sad. And when I sit here and think about it, you know, when he was on the Versus, dude, he looked good. You know what I mean? He looked like he was enjoying Snoop. Snoop was enjoying him. They was enjoying each other. It just in a space where it looked like he was okay, but
even the Drink Champs,
he there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he looked very healthy and happy, because there was another video I actually seen yesterday on Instagram. His, I guess, fiance posted it, and this was like last week. You know, he was in the car with her, and they were jamming and having a good time, and it's just sad, but it lets you know that, I mean, people could really be dying on the inside, right? And we have no clue, because we put out this facade, and I think we all do it at times. We put out this facade that life is great and life is grand, and you know, we're in a happy space, but really we're not. And so I think really that's what it was for him.
And Sean had mentioned the Drink Champs. I seen a clip last night where he said, if I was to die tonight, my last thought would be, is I lived a good life. So regardless of whatever he was battling and dealing with, I mean, one, you know, a family member of his came out and said they haven't had any confirmation about him having an overdose. So for people to put that out there, you know, is false. You know what I mean? Now, right. I mean, you know, it could be whatever, but I'm going to take his family member word for it. If they haven't had confirmation, then I'm going to say he didn't overdose. You know what I mean? But for him to even say, if I was to die today, my last thought would be, I lived a good life. I mean, you got to respect it. That means he's at peace with whatever's going on.
And where life. He's at.
Exactly.
You know, what he's been through. So, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, that was a dope episode. You know, that Drink Champs joint. So, salute to DMX. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody going to be streaming that music. He got a new album that's going to be dropping. So, I'm sure everybody going to support.
And to all the people who say he fell off, you know, in the later parts and stuff like that, my thing is he definitely didn't make the music he did within the first 3 or 4 albums. But if you listen to his music without the music, if you just listen to the lyrics, listen to it a cappella, it's poetry in motion. Like, and that's why he's on my list, top 5 greatest of all time, because his music, his lyrics it's just poetry. You know what I mean? And so I could listen to his music without the beats. All I got to do is listen to his lyrics, and it's going to inevitably, you're going to be touched by it.
Oh snap! Using them 50-cent words.
You like that? Inevitably. That's how many syllables is that?
As Junie would say, spell it.
Right.
Inevitably.
Wow.
All right. My condolences to the family from the podcast. Everybody here, our condolences to the family, and prayers for the family, man. I hope they're able to maintain and make it through. So what you got? What was that next one, Mr. Nostradamus?
So something else I wanted to talk about that's been going on lately is all of the Asian hate and the brutality that's been going on against Asian people. How do you guys feel about that? I feel a certain way about it, but how do you guys feel about it?
Why do you feel a certain way about it?
Why? Because for one, it's wrong, right? It's just wrong.
That's one. It is definitely wrong.
But the other side I feel about it is, you know, and I'm not going to, you know, try to sugarcoat this, right? Where were they? And this is not for everybody, but where were they when other black people and other minorities was getting beat down and the same stuff was happening to them by law enforcement or by somebody else, and those people who were committing those crimes was getting off? Where were they, right? So in one side, I know is wrong and it shouldn't be happening. But the second side is, you know, if you weren't down with the cause when it wasn't happening to you, you can't ask other people now to be down for your cause. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I get that. I get all that you're saying, bro. I get all that you're saying.
That boy's sharp.
And I agree. But at what point do you say, you know what? We have a common enemy here, or we have a common issue. We can deal with this later. Let's deal with this now. Do you get to that point?
It should
Does
be.
that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I know where you're going with it. You basically answering what he just said.
So at what point do you get to, where do you get to that point and say, okay, we're going to deal with this later, but right now it's an issue?
It's tough because I gotta see what you're really about, because, you know, I can't support you for what you want me to support because you weren't supporting me. But there's other Asian people who were supporting when it was happening. So then I'm gonna support those Asian people. You know what I mean? So for me, it's about picking and choosing who I'm gonna support versus, because I gotta feel like you're authentic and that you was there for me. I can't be there for you if you weren't there for me.
So do y'all, Sean, Junie, y'all agree?
Well, what Nostradamus said?
How do you compartmentalize that and say these people were good, but these people were suspect, but it affects these people and these people?
It's really hard.
I think
it's hard.
I think until something happens to you, that's when you take an interest.
Correct.
Right? And that's what's taking place. So, you know, and I have a lot of Asian people that I know, so it's no shade to them, but you know what I mean, you guys were not really helping us at the time when we were getting attacked, right? And so I just feel like now that it's happening to you, like, you know, there's an expectation of having the world, you know, help you out in this situation. I mean, wrong is wrong and right is right. It's wrong no matter who it happens to. Caucasian, African American, Haitian, Asian, whomever. It's wrong. It's not right. But that lets you know, like, now hopefully you'll have more of a
compassion,
sensitivity and compassion to what has been taking place and what's still taking place today to African Americans and people of color. And so I look at it in both ways.
Let me play devil's advocate here.
All right.
Okay. So how does a person have a sensitivity or something like that if they're not going through it? Because isn't the saying is, you know, mind your business, is none of your business?
That's your thing. That's your thing.
I just said I'm playing devil's advocate here. Don't be pointing over here.
No, you can't say mind your business on a situation like that. You know what I mean? Because it affects
on a lot
everybody.
of situations.
Yeah.
So in our community, if somebody gets shot or something like that, you know what I mean, and the police coming to asking questions, people be like, you know, I don't know, I'm minding my business.
But a lot of times that
nothing.
But we have to understand where that minding my business comes from. That minding my business statement comes from fear, right? Because if you live in the hood, you grew up in the hood, there's certain things that take place. And no, you're not going to want to go and, you know, chill with no cop and tell the cop, yeah, this is what I've seen, because at the end of the day, you're in fear for your life. But there is a point where minding your business and having compassion, they don't equal the same thing. And so I feel like in what we're seeing with what's happening to the Asian community, you know, yes, there should be a outpour to say that's wrong, but that same outpour and, you know, emphasis that's going out in the world right now, that needs to happen for everybody. That needs to happen for the Black and brown girls. that needs to happen for the police brutality. That needs to happen for the people that are just getting shot up for no reason. So I don't feel like you have to have something happen to you in order to have that sense of compassion. That's a part of humanity, which is a part that we lack. We lack compassion as human beings. So I don't have to wait for somebody to get beat up by a cop for me to feel like getting beat up by a cop is wrong. It's
Correct.
wrong, you know? And so the same, you know, compassion and outpour and frustration that I have for it happening to a Black individual, you know, I feel the same if it happens to a Caucasian individual, if it's happening for the same reason.
But you know, I think what's going on is true. Obviously, is happening, but I think the bigger picture of it, I think it could have been like devised to shift people's attention away, right? Because Black Lives Matter movement was taken, you know, it was growing. You know what I mean? In the midst of all the stuff that's been happening, you know, they started getting more and more recognition, and then they started being looked at as an organization that's for the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to stunt that progression, then they had to take attention away from it. And although the Asian hate is obviously real, I think it, you know, in some facets, it was a measure designed to take attention away from the Black Lives Matter movement.
Well, when you say design, who do you think put it out there? I think
I don't know who
political.
put it out there.
What I mean is not necessarily put it out there as in like tell people to go and do this to Asians, right? But just my opinion, based on the past year that we have had with government and our past so-called number 45 president, y'all president, you know,
the level of disrespect.
I feel like he spewed a lot of hatred out there, right? Dealing with this COVID vaccine, right? That, you know, in COVID period, he spewed a lot of, before something big happens, there's little things that happen that causes that something big to happen. So what I'm trying to get to is he was putting a lot of things out there, right, in the universe. He was saying a lot of different things when he would speak. He was talking about Asians. He was saying that it came from them. He was saying that they're the one that did this and they're the one that did that. And so for me, I believe that those little seeds that he was dropping, right, that is what caused people now. I mean, it's not right, but that's what caused people now to say, hey, yeah, you're the cause of this. Like, we don't like you. And so we're going to do this to you. So I think it stems from little small actions that cause this big action. So no one didn't go out there and say, yeah, I want you to go do this to Asians. Yeah, but technically,
I wish I could put an infographic on the screen, but I seen a chart the other day that said 54% of Asian people felt like Trump was the cause of all of the Asian hate going on right now.
I'm sure it was.
I think he is the cause. Yeah. I think he is the reason why people started having that negative persona about Asians, because it's like, yeah, you know, if y'all didn't do what y'all did, then we wouldn't be dealing with COVID. I mean, he literally would say that, like, very confidently
to
and
the
arrogantly.
nation, to the nation, to the world, front of everybody. Where he's sitting there, when he said, "This is Kung Flu," I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, bro!"
I'm laughing. But
you
I'm not
really
laughing.
Gotta be kidding me that he had the balls and the audacity to say Kung Flu or the Asian virus, this, that. And he does it. I mean, so nonchalantly to where he just put. Yeah.
Right.
You know what?
What was that? No.
I'm laughing. Funny though.
So funny how serious he was. Like,
he was dead serious. And them people who follow is, like I said, you give them a battery. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, you laugh at it because you like, yo,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, you can't believe it. And you like, yo, this dude just said the Kung Flu virus. And then you think about it, you like, yo, being a black person, I'm like, yo, you just put a target on their back.
That's exactly what I mean. Small things leading to a bigger action.
And you started saying that stuff on the New York subways when you see an Asian person on the train and they getting beat or picked at, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, as he was doing these type of things. So right now, basically, like she said, when it came down to it, now the light is like really and the magnifying glass is on that situation. But it's been going on since he really started speaking out on it and talking about, oh, Kung flu, Asian virus, China this, China that, to where when people would see Asians and stuff like that, and like I said, it's not just happening just now. It's been going on, but like I said, the fire just wasn't lit as high. You know what I mean? To where people just being super duper over the top bold and just doing stupid stuff. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, right? Like him saying that stuff, like some of it is funny. Like the Kung flu, that's funny, right? But the problem is who it's coming from. One, like you, the leader of the free nation, like you shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Like you got to have you got to carry yourself better, right?
Correct.
And then with the amount of followers that you have and specific people who follow you, like now you're actually fueling their fire. And you know what I mean? And you're influencing them in a certain way. So I can't lie. Like some of the stuff he say is funny, but it's just dangerous because what can happen from it.
I agree.
Everything he says has been dangerous. It's literally horrible. Like anything that you've seen happen in the past 2 years, 4 years, has been his fault. Like his words have power. You know, even with the whole police brutality, I know we're not talking about that, but it just lets you know that little seeds, little things that are deposited, can cause a bigger reaction. And so that's what we're seeing now.
And if you're the minority, you just got to learn to, you like I said, until you in the midst of it, you just start realizing that you need to stand together. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we should be on the same team. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's the world we're in. I mean, me personally, I do love all people. You know what I mean? I'm not racist or anything to that extent. You know what I mean? I'm a very true, diverse person. You know what I mean? I give everybody a chance. But when you realize and see everything that other races go through, you know what I mean? Especially like, African American race or black race, period. Because there's been a lot of stuff going on even in Africa with, the Asian community or how they were treating Africans and stuff like that, you know what I mean, over there in their own country, you know what I mean? But you realize that we are the minority. We got to come together and take a stand and stand together, and we'll be strong as heck, man. But until that happens, you're going to have some that support, some that don't. You know what I mean? You're just going to have to take the wins with the losses.
So you with Jay. If you got a common enemy, you just bind together for now, and then we'll hash out our issues later.
No, we should bind together, period, and realize the facts are what they are. Bind together and stand together.
I think it makes it easier then to hash out, because then you can see different than I.
Exactly.
You can go through these same things that I'm saying, like these things happen, and you're like, no, it doesn't happen. Now that's happening to you. Oh, now it's real. When you got your real inward wake up call for some people, you know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, Stacey Dash. And now she wants to come back. And now people are like, it's that same deal. So
they traded her a long time ago.
Yo,
but now she's trying to come back and bite her words. Nah, don't try to change who you are.
I was mentally not there. I'll get to her in a minute, but
she can't even come back on a vet minimum contract.
No, she really can't.
It gotta be a 10-day no guarantee contract.
Oh, Lord, I'm about to say that she can't get a 10-day.
There's something there, but as far as the Asians and black people go, it's like some Puerto Ricans who feel like I've made it to a certain point, so I don't have to deal with the certain things that everybody else has to deal with. No, you're gonna get your wake up call, and you're gonna have to come back. Like all these minorities are gonna get their wake up call. You're not in the club,
right?
But that's the point that I don't agree with. It's like, why do I need a wake up call to be able to support somebody else?
You're right.
Well,
because it depends on what you went through in your life. So if you went through certain things in your life, some certain things just don't happen. Like,
but it's not going to be shot to know that it hurts and not want to get shot.
But there's also common sense.
You got to look at how black people are portrayed in America. like D.L. Hughley said, the same thing that you're celebrated for on Sunday, you're killed for on Monday. So these stereotypes around black people that are big and fast and so forth and so on. Now I'm the big black scary dude, right? So now I'm a threat. So the white guy across the street isn't a threat. Like they're not looked at as a threat like that. So you got to see how the media portrays us, and they buy into it. Media is something serious. Like advertising is real, marketing is real. And that's how they get certain people to believe certain things. Think about the people who lives in middle America who literally haven't really been around black people or experienced black people. That's like the same people who say, I've never left Orlando. I've never left Pine Hills. Are you serious? You never went down the road? Like, nah, I never left Orlando. Are you serious? Because I've been everywhere. Though there are people like that. And when those type of things happen, whatever the media says is real. That's just what it is. And so now people gotta be willing to learn. And if they're not willing to learn, then they're just gonna be ignorant, but they're gonna think what they think. Then you get these situations like this where that's never gonna happen to me until it does.
I think until people see that something is wrong, point blank, period, it doesn't have to happen to you. Seeing something is wrong, that's what should trigger the reaction to support that particular group that's being targeted.
But when you're looking at it from a human aspect, but
that's what we are. Are we animals?
Yeah, what are you looking at? You the alien, bro?
No, yeah, I'm telling you, people got to look at things from a human aspect, and people don't look at things from a human aspect. It's real.
Well, I don't know what aspect they're looking at it from, because we're not animals, we're human. So there's only one way that you really should look at it. Like right is right and wrong is wrong.
No, but everybody's right isn't right, and everybody wrong isn't wrong. It depends on your experience. And when you're looking at experiences, then you can say, yo, that's wrong. Or it's real simple, but pork. For some people, eating pork is wrong. For some people, eating pork is good. I can't tell a person.
But that's not a good example, Jason.
It's because wrong. Jay like eat meat.
Yeah.
That's not a good example, Jason.
Give me an example.
You getting shot, Jason. That's not a good example. We talking about food. That's preference. Let's talk about getting shot. A black person getting shot versus an Asian person getting
let's
shot.
Go back to that.
Okay, so shot. The point is somebody's getting shot. Somebody's being hurt. That is wrong.
You're still looking at it from. You're not looking at it.
How can you look at that as being something good, though? How can you look at it as
not being something good? You got to look at how the media portrays it. Now it's looked at as they deserved it. That's what it's looked at as now. Does that make sense?
I guess
you know what else?
It doesn't make sense to us because we're black and we got to deal with it. But when they look at us. You ever you ever been watching TV and you like hear a crime on TV and you be like, oh, that sound like this group of people did it. Oh, it may have sounded like, oh man, they sound like they white. Oh, now somebody black did that one. Mm-hmm. In those certain situations, when you've been trained to think that way just by what's happening in life. On the media, on news, like it's being replayed and you're hearing it. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to the music, like we know that these people ain't really out there trying to shoot nobody. They're trying to make this money, but that's what sells. So if you're listening to this music, the media and so forth and so on, yeah, it puts out this depiction of certain groups of people, but that's not real.
You know what else too?
What's up?
I was talking to a friend of mine and he thinks, not that he thinks, but he said in his opinion that, statistically you always have a margin of error, right? And so when you look at the crime rate against certain races, he's like, the reason why the Asian hate is becoming prevalent right now and people are talking about it because the margin of error is growing outside of what they expect. So now once it grows outside, let's say they expect a 3%, crime against Asian people. Maybe it's getting like 7 or 8%. And now it's starting to get higher to where it's skewing the numbers. They're like, no, we got to bring attention to it to bring that back down to 3%. as long as it stays within the margin of error, we're good. But once it goes outside of that and it starts to deviate way outside of that, we got to figure out how to bring that back down.
You make a good point. Like for them, Junie, Sean, Nostradamus, for them, for certain people, like if a black person gets shot in their heads, he must have deserved it. He did something wrong to deserve it, right? That ain't nobody should be out here dying from selling no cigarettes, no Lucy's. Shouldn't nobody be dying from no CDs? Shouldn't nobody be dying because they got mental issues and it's clear and apparent that they have mental issues, something's going on? Shouldn't nobody be dying from that? If that was a white kid or anybody else, they would have been arrested just fine and taken to Burger King or wherever they do, and they would have been straight. You know what I mean? But that's the difference.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So it's the right and wrong thing. You're right. It shouldn't be a thing of if somebody's dying, that's wrong. Like they getting shot for no reason, that's wrong. But in this person's head, oh, they deserved it. They shouldn't have been. Nah, that's not a life sentence. You shouldn't give nobody a life sentence because if they mess up, give them a fine. You know, you do whatever you got to do. You selling Lucy's, you shouldn't be selling Lucy's. I get it. Okay, give me my fine and let me go. Right? If I used a counterfeit 20, you know what I mean? Arrest me, do whatever you got to do, and we'll deal with it on the back end. I should not die. But then you got homeboy in Kenosha, and he has a whole gun shooting at people, and a whole tank rolls past him with cops. But he has an assault rifle. Like, come on.
Yeah, this is a sensitive topic here. It gets me bad.
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
To Sean's point, man, we gotta do something. You got to get together, and then you can hash out things on the back end.
You'd have to band together. That's the only other option. I mean, there's other options, but that's a big one that would help. You have more support on each side. You know what I mean? The more soldiers you get, the better you are.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly.
Hey, you better do that because you know they coming after the Fred Hamptons. They can shoot you in your apartment, bro.
Big time.
Crazy.
And send in your homeboy to set you up. So I mean, in situations like that, you have to use those numbers. And the people, it's like for women to get the rights and everything that they deserve, it's going to take more men to stand up and band with them in order for that to happen.
That is true.
They're going to fight. But we shouldn't even be talking. Shut up forever. Let them say whatever they have to say. You band with them and you do the things that you need to do to help them get to where they need to be. So in this situation, that's what you need from other groups of people. And once y'all band together, y'all way bigger than the system. Now you fighting the system. And that's
I doubt the world will ever get to that place. I mean, it's sad to say. They're too selfish. So they're only, about themselves until it happens to them. So sad.
Nostradamus.
So that was a good segue, Sean. I think you had mentioned something offline. You kind of wanted to speak about the George Floyd trial with Derek. Is his name Derek Chauvin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, Sean. You start that one off.
Yeah, for me personally, like I said, I haven't watched the whole trial, but as far as what I have seen, it's a scary situation because you realize that trial can go any way, even though the facts are there that, this man truly murdered this man who was handcuffed, laying on the ground, wasn't resisting arrest or anything like that. If that trial blows and this man walks free, we're going to have a whole nother issue on our hands. And it ain't going to be pretty. Mm-hmm. But to sit there and see these people giving testimonies who are there, like you mentioned the counterfeit 20, obviously that's what led to this whole situation. and you have a teenage kid who working at register that day, and him sitting up on stage crying because not on stage, but in the courtroom crying because he felt, he should have just kept it. Kept the 20 and say, you know what, I'll just cover it, whatever. Not report it again to the boss because there was a second counterfeit that came in from George Floyd and the other person he was with. So by him reporting it is what made them call the police. So you see what escalates at that point, and you can't do nothing about it, or you got bystanders over there who's watching, and the only thing you can do is pull out a phone and record. Because at the end of the day, you can't do nothing to an officer, without the repercussion of your own. You know what I mean? So it's like you're really sitting there stuck and got to watch it, and you're seeing these people break down on stage, in court. Literally because I couldn't move. I can't do nothing. You got one dude, an MMA fighter, and he told the dude, hey, you touch me again, we're going to have a problem. You know what I mean? And at that point, he still couldn't do nothing with the other cops. You know what I mean? So, like I said, to look at that whole situation, I'm just hoping that they do the right thing. They got plenty of evidence, from all sides. And I'm just hoping that it goes the way it should go. And there is some type of justice. Of course, it ain't the justice we want because he should still be breathing. Especially over a counterfeit 20. But I'm just hoping that they do the right thing this time around. You know what I mean?
I seen a post on Instagram that said it's a very simple case.
It is.
Let somebody kneel on Derek Chauvin's neck for the same time period that he was on George Floyd's neck. If he lives, then he walks away. If he dies, then that's it.
I seen that as well, Nostradamus, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like,
it does.
I'm in total agreement. Let's do it. Like, if that's not how he died, right? Because that's what they're saying. Mm-hmm. That's not how he died. He died from natural causes. Okay. Well, let's try to put our body weight and our foot and all of that on your neck. And let's just see if it's natural cause that causes you to, lose your life. So
right. Stop somebody from breathing for 8 minutes and see if they live.
But that judicial system is so corrupt and so crazy to where you just, like I said, it's such a thin line, to prove someone's innocence or guilt, And like I said, if you don't have the sad part is if you don't have all the facts that supports the situation to say, no, you guilty, it don't take much to say that you're innocent. You know what I mean? It's the facts that let's try to prove that this person guilty. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's crazy. And it's a lot of chaos that are probably about to jump off if that thing don't go the right way.
It's gonna happen.
I got a question for both of you. In your head right now, do you think this guy is going to get off?
I think he's gonna get off. And I'm ready for to watch a war happen because that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna get off because the way the trial's going, it's unbelievable. Like what they're saying, it's unbelievable that they're actually putting in their head that he died naturally. Like we watched a clip of how he transitioned, and you're saying that he died naturally. Like the fact that can even be a statement that's stated in the courtroom, he gonna walk. Look at the past cases we had in the past couple of years. All those people walked, they didn't get no time. This is a continuous cycle, and it's unfortunate. I don't have no trust in the justice system, none.
And none. I think me personally, I'm wavering with it. And the only reason I say that is, like I said, because it's not a conspiracy theory or nothing like that, but I feel like the world want to put our current president them to the test. You know what I mean? In the sense of let this thing get off. How they going to handle the chaos that's going to happen? You know what I mean? How they going to manage all the craziness that the riots? Imagine. Like I said, this ain't no simple situation. It ain't a little case. So imagine, the people who they want to see, the president and them fail and say, okay, well, you know what? Let's see if we can put him in that situation and see exactly how he can control this chaos that's about to happen. You know what I mean? To where now all the fingers are pointing, hey, you're supposed to be the president. You know what I mean? Y'all supposed to be able to, control this type of stuff. But a lot of that stuff be over their head, you know what I mean? With the other people who are in power. So me looking at it from that perspective, I feel like we about to be really tested. You know what I mean? To the extent of why all of these places, bro, we went to Academy last weekend on Sunday and the ammo is flying off the shelf. You know what I mean? When it comes to bullets. Say, hey, it's 200 people lined up outside every morning waiting for a shipment to get ammunition. You know what I mean? Why? Why so much? You know what I mean? You talking about pretty much every day they know a shipment coming. You got like 200 people lined up for when the store open up. They only let you get, 2 boxes per person or something like that. But they flying off the shelves every time they get stocked. So you got to look at the big picture and be like, okay, well, what the hell is really, happening? So I just stay on the swivel with it.
Rubber bullets.
See, the thing is, to your question, Jay. I mean, I think in general, most people don't expect for there to be justice for George Floyd, right? And to Junie, to your reaction about how the case is going, like I've seen some stuff where to me it's just sickening because I don't like how when they talk about these trials and they make it a game, like, oh, if the prosecutor does X, Y, and Z, then they'll be able to win. Or if the defense does X, Y, and Z, they'll be able to present a good case. It's like, they're thinking of all these angles and they're playing with somebody's life. Right. You know what I mean? And if you did the crime, then you should be punished because, if I'm in school and I do something that's against the rules, I'm going to get reprimanded for it, be suspended, whatever the case, can't come to school, whatever. So if you did something wrong, then you should be reprimanded for it. And so when I watch it briefly every here and there, but a lot of the different attorney analysts that they have on, come on as guest speakers, they talk about how the prosecution is actually winning and proving that what the former police officer did was negligent and actually was the cause. But that, that could just be from their lens looking at it and what they feel. And at the end of the day, like to your question, Jay, he might not get prosecuted and he might not be convicted for it.
But look at this. You seen the video of the black dude who was up there, which is the MMA fighter. Look at the crazy questions they asked him. I see that you told the police officer, don't touch me again or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? He said, yes. He said, they was asking him questions like, did you call the officer as he was kneeling on, George Floyd? You were telling him he's a BA, a BAN. You know what that stands for, Jay, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, I said it about 20 times, they said, right? He said, if that's what the video showed, yeah, I said it. You told him that he's a this and that, whatever, just going off of that type of stuff. So he said, so is it basically safe to say that, you were getting angrier and angrier? Like he tried to point him out as an angry black man. Yeah. The dude said, no. He said, I was professional. I was getting more and more professional. You know what I mean? But the stuff that they try to build off of witnesses that couldn't do nothing. You know what I mean? What difference does it make what I called that dude? You know what I mean? I'm telling you, this dude is begging for his life and you not paying no attention. You know what I mean? So what matters if I say your mother, your this, that, whatever? That ain't got nothing to do with this trial. You know what I mean? It's different if I put my hands on you or I, went over and try to attack you or whatever the case may be. But for you to question what I say, it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? But this is what you're building cases off of. You know what I mean?
That's what they do. Yeah, that's what they do. They look at your past. They look at what you were doing when the situation happened. I mean, to try to, mess up your witness.
They asked that man, hey, if you in the MMA, if you got a opponent, tied down or in a submission, what do they do? He's like, hey, they tap out. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay. Now, how is a man going to tap out when he handcuffed? You know what I mean? Behind his back.
You can't breathe.
You know what I mean? And they say how you lay on the floor and try to roll over with your hands behind your back, and how easy is it for you to just roll over and keep rolling? You know what I mean? So it's a crazy situation, but no, God willing, the right thing happens. If it doesn't, you know what I mean? Hopefully, God sheds some grace, because we're gonna need every bit of it.
Yep, they're gonna need it.
I mean, considering what happened on January 6th, and what was that? That was January 6th. Yeah, the inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So considering what happened on January 6th, and then like what some of the Republicans are saying happened during the summer, and how they try to compare them where there's no comparison, you're gonna have some problems come if it comes out that homeboy is not guilty. And then you can't, if the police actually want to gain trust in these communities, they're going to have to start being held accountable. But the way the law is written, it makes it kind of difficult for them to be held accountable, because when it's written and it says, if you feel threatened, then you're allowed to use that force. What's a threat? Because there's no definitive explanation of what a threat is. So then when they go to court, and now the way they're able to beat it is because they just say, I feel threatened. Like in this situation, I don't even think they're going to, he felt threatened. They're going straight to, you kneeled on this man for over 8 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when that one expert got up and had the jury, doing certain things with their neck and showing them how what was happening, they're not talking about a threat. They're showing that there was no reason for you to kneel on this guy for over 8 minutes. That seems like what the argument is from what I've been seeing. So it's getting to a point where you that was just overkill. You didn't have to do that. There was no more threat. If he's handcuffed, he's on the ground. That one dude talking about you can't roll over and do it. Yeah, exactly. There's no threat.
You know what the defense is trying to say to that? The hostile environment, because they felt like the surrounding people who was watching and stuff were becoming threats.
Mm-hmm.
So then secure the area. I don't know. I'm not a cop, so I wouldn't know what it took in order to secure that area, get people moved back or whatever they needed to do. But to kneel on somebody's neck for that long, put the joker in the car, close the doors, and you deal with the people that are there. Call for backup, but you can't just kneel on my man's neck for that long.
And it's not even just kneeling on the neck. I don't know if you guys seen the video. There's a video that just came out where I think it's the video that one of the cops were wearing, like the recording. And it was from a different angle. So nobody's seen that until the trial. And so what they were doing at that time, they were yanking, the officer was yanking his arm. So imagine not breathing and you're already in handcuffs and they're literally like yanking your arm off. Like, that's what was taking place. So he not only had the whole breathing thing, but he was experiencing other issues as well, as far as physical, and so it's crazy. Like all of these other things are coming out.
George Floyd should not be dead. At the end of the day, he should not be dead.
He shouldn't.
And the sad part about it is, people look at it and be like, well, he shouldn't have did this or that. When I see that, I haven't even watched the video. I can't watch the video, because to sit here and watch the video and to see somebody pleading for their life dying is so hard for me to watch, because that could be me, Sean, Thomas, anybody. It could be anybody that I know and love. That could be that. There's like I tell my kids and I tell my wife, I treat everybody a certain way, because just because I'm at the point in life I am right now, it could all be gone tomorrow. Gone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gone. And then those same people that you was talking crazy to, right, are the same people that you're gonna have to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And so I just treat every day. I'm gonna just treat everybody the same, because the only difference between me and the next person is a choice. That's it.
Yep. Decisions.
So yeah, that's a rough one, man. That's a rough
It
one.
is.
That's a rough one. I just hope the outcome is he's held accountable.
That's it.
I hope so too, because what's coming is steep.
Yeah. So okay, on to the next topic. Which one, Mr. Nostradamus, are we talking about?
I don't know. Let's go with something more lighthearted, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It okay? What about Derek Jackson?
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
I'm gonna let Junie tell you.
So Derek Jackson is a social media viral relationship guru. There's so many of those on social media. But anyways, so he has a lot of books and he does a lot of videos and he talks about relationship and cheating and why guys cheat and what to look for and things like that. And so recently, about 2 weeks ago, it actually came out that last year he's married. So last year he had a lot of different affairs and it came out. And so there was a particular, what do you call it? I can't even think. What do you call those people that bring out the gossip? Help me out.
Blog.
Blogs, thank you. There was a particular blog, I can't think of his name, but that came out and put, the news out about him cheating. And then, the women that he cheated with, came out and they were speaking. And so last week, in the past 2 weeks, it's just been like bashing him on social media. And that's what, people have been doing, is bashing him because they're criticizing him and saying that he's a hypocrite. Because, right, in one aspect, he was, he has books out and like he's really, really popular on social media and, he's viral and he puts out all of these, empowerment women and, don't, accept cheating and this and that and what causes a person to cheat. And so you would never, ever think that this particular individual, right, that's been this role model and leader, right? Women love him, of course. I don't really care for him, but women love him because of, the stuff that he talks about. It's like for them. Mm-hmm. And so just to have it come out 2 weeks ago that he's been cheating and, and that's already bad enough. But then what was even worse is, I guess, to look good, because at first when it came out, he actually denied it. He actually denied that, he cheated and those things took place. And it's not just like with one person. It was with multiple females, right? And one of them is a doctor, but multiple females. And so what's even worse is that after he denied it, he went on social media and he decided to do a video, like a live on Instagram. I think it was on Instagram, where he was sitting down with his wife. Mind you, if you're gonna like own up to your ish, own it up by yourself, right? Leave her out of it. She's already in it, right? Because the world is already like bashing her, but the world became even worse in bashing her when they did the live together, because she's literally sitting next to him. She has a bonnet on. My God, she has a bonnet on, right? I mean, from a visual perspective, she didn't look presentable. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, as a female, when I'm on live, if I'm doing a recording, right? I mean, I wear bonnets to sleep, but I'm not gonna put it on now, right? It's just not appropriate. And so she really looked horrible on there, right? When I say horrible, she's not an ugly female. She's very pretty, but just in the way that she chose to dress and the bonnet, and then she's sitting by this joker who is like literally, it feels as if he's forcing her to speak about what took place, right? And so people are now bashing her because they're saying, she's a robot and that he forced her. And I mean, nobody really knows what took place behind closed doors. Nobody really knows their relationship. Nobody really knows if he's forcing her to go on this live and talk about whatever took place in their marriage. But it's just really messy. It's a lot. There's so much I could say. It's a lot.
Nobody really knows that, but I can tell you one thing we do know.
What do we know?
She wasn't watching her own man video. Because if she was, then she would have seen the signs and she would have known he was cheating. It looked like she should have been watching it instead of everybody else.
Not really. You can't blame her for that. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody wants to cheat, they're going to cheat. There's not a book for it. Of course, there's things that, may take place that you can watch out for that may indicate that is taking place, that the person is cheating on you or whatever, talking to somebody else, whether it be physical or emotional cheating. But at the end of the day, there's things that you'll never know. There's signs that are just not there in front of you that you may not be aware of. So I don't think that she had to necessarily watch his videos.
Oh no, man. The signs are there. The signs are always there, and he's telling you what's the signs. Dude, if I'm this person, my wife better be the first person watching my video all the time, right? Like that's the only thing that you like. It don't matter how many other people watch it, but my spouse needs to be watching it. And so that just tells me like his biggest fan wasn't even a fan. Sucks for him, sucks for her.
Wow. This dude over here, boy.
That's how you take it? Wow.
I mean,
so how you putting it on her though? You ain't say nothing negative about him. That's the problem.
Oh, I did. I said sucks for him, sucks for her. It is.
Okay.
I mean, he, like you said, from a hypocrite, for him to give all the relationship advice and stuff like that, but turn around and do it. I mean, obviously, that's why you just can't listen to everybody. You know what I mean? You never know what people have going on in their lives. There's a lot of people that tells you one thing and do another thing. You know what I mean?
But in that sense, we can't listen to anybody then.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
You can listen to people, but you got to know who you're listening to.
Because remember, I'm a woman of God, right? Remember, I'm a woman of God, right? So, I put a lot of empowerment stuff out there. I motivate women. I, try to uplift them and encourage them and all that great stuff. But I'm human too. So what if one day I fall? Like, is everything that I've said in the past? So I think we can look at it both ways. Because is everything that I've said in the past, was it garbage? Right? Because I'm not really living that life. No, I'm
That's
human.
a good point.
So I'm not saying that he's right for cheating. It's wrong. But I am saying that maybe in the time that he developed his viral relationship guru books and tutorials and all that great stuff, the information was legit. But, maybe he had a moment of weakness and decided to sleep with 10 women. I don't know.
Hey, multiple people ain't a moment of weakness.
Right.
I feel like this. The message is there. The information that he put out may have been good, right? And people learn from it and use it in their relationship. The information isn't bad, right? His actions were.
Right.
I'm not really, the messenger could be anyone, but don't miss the message.
Right.
So if the message is for you, it's for you, whether it comes from, a dog walking down the road and you like, yo, this dog is talking, but you missed the whole message. It could be crazy. The message is what's important. For him, is he a hypocrite? Sure. Because what you really want to do is be authentic. Then you can make it through stuff like this, right? He's trying to save his brand. So that's why he brought his wife out to sit down. That's why he denied. That's why he started speaking in third person. He's trying to say.
I forgot about that. That Joker spoke in third person.
Yeah. So he's trying to save his brand. So what he's doing is, all right, if you really want to be authentic about it, you got to be like, look, in my relationship, we had these issues and so forth and so on. And we did this to make it through it. So we get here. But the moment he starts talking about, if you cheat, you're this, that, and the third, you better not cheat.
Right.
You better not cheat. You just better not do that thing. So me and Nostradamus was talking about this before. And it was like, the difference is when you're being authentic about something and you're telling actually how you feel about something or whatever, and you're telling your experiences, how you struggled, how you made it through, how you got here, right? And you got on the other side of that trauma that you was dealing with. Like, if a person smokes and they're smoking and they're telling you not to smoke, they may be telling you not to smoke because they know what it is to smoke and try to stop. It's totally hard, right? So just do it. I don't consider them hypocrites. They're just dealing with whatever it is that they're dealing with, but they're saying, man, don't do it because, bro, this is the hardest thing to quit. Just don't do it. But he's not out here, not showing you, be like, don't ever smoke. Smoking is horrible. If a person smokes, they're terrible, and then go behind closed doors and smoke. That's where I see the difference is in this gentleman.
True.
things that are happening. Like,
yeah, but
I just don't miss the message.
Okay, yeah, but do we really live in a world where people expose their skeletons? Because that's really what it would come out to be.
Not
Like
really.
you would have to. We don't. I mean, I'm not gonna put all my issues out there on social media. I have a lot of them. Okay.
Well, we
Like,
kind of do live in a world where people expose themselves now.
okay,
Yeah,
well, unintentionally or some do it on purpose.
No, this new generation, they what they call that, like dry snitching, when they be snitching on themselves.
Give me an example.
Like
somebody,
some people will go rob a bank and then they'll put it on live. Oh, look at this bank I just robbed.
Well, that's just dumb. They just not all the way here. That's
no, but
this
new generation does that a lot. Like they commit they do a lot of foul stuff, and they're always trying to get more streams or followers, and they film it. Little do they know that the cops, the feds, they have a whole department monitoring social media to find these jokers.
I was just talking about that with a friend. Very true. Like they're literally on social media, like scrolling. Oh, they got weed on the table. They got a whole bunch of money on the table.
So there, to your point, there are people who put themselves out there like that. It's probably just our generation and older that understands the importance of privacy and I forget the word. The word eludes me right now.
Oh, I can't help you. Privacy. Use it.
You use privacy in a sentence?
Yeah, no, you just gonna have to use privacy right now.
Yeah,
privacy. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what has to happen right now.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just there are people who lives and put their skeletons out, but it's the way that they do it and own up to it that allows for somebody to say, I can listen to this person because not only are they telling me what not to do, they're also letting me know what not to do because they've done something else. You know what I mean? They're not just saying, "Oh, I'm perfect. Don't do it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the people that you look at, like I said before. I don't miss the message, man. It's a buffet. I'm just figuring out what I can take from it. Exactly. And then there's certain stuff that he says, he'd be like, "Oh, that makes sense, man." And then when stuff like this comes out, I'd be like, it was no surprise. This Joker was never wrong. Like he never talked about anything that was wrong. Not saying I did. I never followed the guy. But if I were to see this pattern, and like when Steve Harvey talks about relationships, he's also had times where he talked about stuff before, right? And when he was talking about those things that he did before, you can be like, okay, this is a real person, right? Now, he may not be talking about stuff that may be happening in his current relationship, but I can respect the person who says, I've done wrong here. I've learned from this, and this is what I try not to do anymore. Right? And moving forward, as a pastor, like people hold pastors up on these pedestals, but I'm like, yo, they're human too. They can mess up. Get the message. They will mess up. Exactly. Be better. Just be better. So I never, for me, when I have conversations about stuff, please understand that I've been there, done that, and got a T-shirt, which is why I know. Like I'm just speaking, pulling stuff out my behind. Like I know. So I've been there and I've made it through. So that's why I'm saying this. I just feel like these people got to do that, on social media. Stop trying to be this perfect person. You can't. You're not.
That's a fact.
So yeah, hopefully homeboy pulls through and figures that out. I don't know.
I'm sure he'll still have a major following.
It's going to get bigger.
Probably dumb follows dumb. So
it's going to get bigger because he sat down and he put it on Front Street. So now he's going to have a different level of people going to have a different level of respect for him, sort of. You know what I mean? Why. In a sense of, oh, he was vulnerable. He opened up. He put his information out there on Front Street. So yeah, he just grew big time.
Man, that's
but you know what though?
It's like glass. You can see right through. Come on, man. Anybody who has any common sense can be able to see right through that facade. Come on.
And also somebody who know him is right behind him trying to tell his wife, listen, man, that Joker don't need you. You don't need him. Come over here. I'm going to take good care of you. That Joker cheated on you. I ain't going to do all that stuff to you.
I hear that she got people in her ear right now.
But guess what? That's the same thing. That's the same thing for him, though, too. No, she sit up there with the bonnet on and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Hey, you giving these other chicks hope and saying, look, you ain't got to worry about me slipping like that. You know what I mean? So, hey, I look at it from both perspectives. You know what I mean?
You can't. It's just a tough one because, again, it's not her fault.
It's not.
Right? It's not her fault. So it's something within the individual. I know I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt. So it's something in the individual that you got to deal with. And once you deal with that, then you can have a healthy relationship with your partner. But until you get to that point, it's not going to happen because insecurities are going to be part of your issue.
Yeah, but it's just tough. Like if you've done something in the past, you've been there, done that, and got a t-shirt, and then you're telling people not to do it versus you telling somebody not to do something, but yet you're doing it. You're currently doing it. You know what I mean? Like I think that's where the issue becomes.
Okay, there's a difference. I agree. That makes sense.
I agree with that. Saying that, you know, currently that you're doing that, but he never talked about when he talked about, here's what I know for sure. When he talked about men cheating, he put them down.
Yeah, he did. That's why y'all men didn't like him.
So when
I don't even know who the Joker is, man.
I really don't either.
You gotta catch
when you're talking like that, that's completely different, bro. If
what he was doing, though.
I told my wife this. I'm okay with the person not showing any grace if you okay with receiving that same energy. If you're okay with receiving that same energy, man, who am I to tell you whatever? But if you want grace, you better give it because it's going to flip one day and it's going to be on you. And if you didn't give any grace, how can you then expect to receive it?
True.
So, I mean, he made his bed. Do I feel sorry for him? I don't know the guy like that.
That man still selling books. That man still selling mad books. I think he got a book that actually just came out. Making money.
My man out here, how to bounce back. But
right in the third person. I'm so done.
Wrote the whole book in third person. But anybody got any final thoughts here before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Just be careful who you follow, because at the end of the day, they're not God.
They're human. They make mistakes like you do every day.
Mr. Nostradamus?
Oh man, I don't know the Joker, man. So I could care less about what goes on with his life.
Oh shit.
Okay, so for me, my condolences to DMX family.
Facts.
For the Asian discrimination or the violence against the Asians, we got to tighten up because we got to work together. Otherwise, we're going to be out here in the cold. George Floyd, man, I hope this dude gets found guilty because I don't want to see what's going to happen otherwise. And other than that, I think the dude is guilty. But, you know, who am I? I'm not even a juror. And then for the Derek Jackson, people, you do need to watch who you follow, but don't miss the message. Don't miss the message. The message is important. And Miss Junie, can you go ahead and hey, we ain't got that talk, but okay.
Miss Junie done disappeared.
Hey, she'll be back. But so at the end of the day, man, y'all gotta watch it. Thank you for checking out another What's Happening series. Please, guys, sit down, have conversations, talk to one another. Talk about these topics and have open discussions, have other ways of thinking about things. And always remember to click, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, share, all that good stuff, man, because we need to get this word out so people can know that we having these conversations. And y'all go debate that. Y'all have a beautiful night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Enjoy.
Bye. And rest in peace, the dog.
Yes, sir. Whoa, don't.
You sound like a chihuahua over there.
Back on the grind. remember the times I'm feeling like Michael. We taking a stand, creating a plan, and beating the cycle. We got a whole lot of work we gotta do. Give me the raw, give me the real, just give me the truth. We start a conversation, then let the world debate it. Breath of fresh air coming through just like ventilation. And no boy, let me tell you about the squad. A dream team, so you know they coming hard. Now first up, let me tell you about Jay. You know he wise, man, that boy got knowledge for days. Check out his mind. Then we got Sean coming through like Thanos, keep him in line. He's a quiet storm, but don't get it twisted, you see the grind. And next up, we gotta talk about Nate. You know she slay. She got the brains and the beauty plus strength to keep him straight. And last but not least, we got Nostradamus. He's the voice of the people, so he'll keep it poppin'. My squad gon' keep it 100, and that's all facts. They're here to spark the conversation. Now you debate that.